Today I'm headed over to the job fair at Valley View High School to find some new interns. I want to get some fresh blood, euthanize this place.
This 90s era Megadeth album was making waves with its controversial album artwork and platinum sales. By this point in the group's career, frontman and leader Dave Mustaine was being heralded as an elder statesman of metal, a father figure, and while this was going on, Megadeth also made history. But the road to get here was difficult. In today's video, let's talk about Megadeth's journey to this point in the 90s. The story of Megadeth begins in 1983 when Dave Mustaine, after being fired from Metallica due to his substance abuse issues, formed what became one of thrash metal's most influential bands. Joining forces with bassist David Ellefson, Mustaine set out to create a band that would push the boundaries of heavy metal's technical possibilities. The band's early period was marked by intense creativity, but also severe personal struggles. Their 1985 debut, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, established their technical prowess, though the band was plagued by drug dependencies that led to lineup changes throughout the decade. The situation reached a critical point when guitarist Chris Poland and drummer Gar Samuelson began pawning the band's equipment to fund their habits. Their follow-up 1986's Peace Sells, But Who's Buying became such a beloved record in thrash circles, but sadly internal tensions continued. The relationship between Mustaine, Poland, and Samuelson deteriorated so severely that Poland and Samuelson left the group before the recording of Megadeth's third record. Guitarist Jeff Young and drummer Chuck Baylor soon joined the band, and they returned in 1988 with So Far, So Good, So What. Despite the band's upward trajectory, it was all set to come undone due to the members' substance abuse issues. Perhaps nothing was more of a wake-up call than a 1988 appearance at the Monsters of Rock Festival opening for Iron Maiden. Playing to over 100,000 concertgoers, the band's set was a disaster as bassist David Ellefson was dopesick. The band was supposed to play another week worth of shows with Maiden, but their management took them off the road, forcing Mustaine and Ellefson into treatment. Mustaine recalled to Q magazine in 1992, "I'm lucky with my intake of drugs and drink that I didn't end up a glob of shit. For 5 years I was spending $500 a day on cocaine and heroin. Every single day my loved ones were watching a man become a hollow shell." But sobriety and a new decade, the 90s, ushered in a new era for Megadeth, and to a lot of fans, it was their most celebrated period. This was accompanied by the arrival of guitarist Marty Friedman and drummer Nick Menza on arguably one of the band's best records, 1990's Rust in Peace. It resulted in classic tracks like Holy War's The Punishment Due and Hangar 18. The tour to support the album also saw Megadeth play shows as part of the Clash of the Titans tour in Europe alongside Anthrax, Slayer, Suicidal Tendencies, and Testament. The tour represented a big opportunity for the band to reach a new level of success, with Ellefson telling Loudersound, "Clash of the Titans was very strategic for Megadeth. It was a stepping stone that took us from being a disheveled, broken down, drugged out shell of a Megadeth in 88-89 into being a band that could fill arenas on our own." It was the tour for Rust in Peace that saw the band begin to write songs that eventually made their way onto their commercially accessible album, 1992's Countdown to Extinction. Megadeth continued to write politically charged tunes, with the title track dealing with humans' impact on the environment. In an unexpected twist, the song also netted Megadeth a Humane Society Genesis Award in 1993, an award that no other metal band had ever won. The award was presented by the Humane Society to honor those who support animal rights. We also got to talk about perhaps the band's best known song, which I still hear on local radio, Symphony of Destruction. You take 'em all, the man. The song, which was written by Mustaine on the back of a sushi receipt, tells the story of how mankind is being led to destruction by its political leaders. The song peaked at number 29 on the US mainstream rock tracks chart and was also a crossover hit peaking at number 71 on the Hot 100. The album produced another hit single in Sweating Bullets, which was written from the perspective of someone suffering from schizophrenia. The song peaked at number 27 on the mainstream rock tracks chart. As for Countdown to Extinction, it peaked at number 2 on the album charts, but you may be wondering what was number 1. Well, Billy Ray Cyrus was number 1, something that irked Mustaine, who recalled, well, this artist Billy Ray Cyrus had this stupid song, Achy Breaky Heart, and when Countdown to Extinction came out, it was at number 2. Who was at number 1? Billy Ray Cyrus. I really obsessed on that. I thought I gotta be at number 1 at least once in my life.
Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, I just don't think you'd understand.
The band did have another hit song in 1993 when they contributed a track to the Beavis and Butthead soundtrack, 99 Ways to Die. That song peaked at number 23 on the mainstream rock tracks chart. Dave, for a period of time, even dipped his toe into politics, covering the Democratic National Convention for MTV in 1992, trying to get apathetic youngsters more involved in America's political process. But in an ironic twist, Mustaine admitted while doing press in 1994 that he felt pretty jaded with both political parties. As Megadeth were on the road for Countdown to Extinction, Mustaine's sobriety was tested. In 1993, the band had to take 3 months off the road. Mustaine admitted to the Canadian press it was a little bit of detoxifying spiritually, physically, emotionally, adding, in February of 93, the tour stopped because I overdosed on Valium, and that pretty much was when everything came to a screeching halt and that ugly personal demon reared its ugly head. For Megadeth's follow-up to Countdown to Extinction, the band didn't want to record in California again since Mustaine was now living in Arizona to maintain his sobriety, and the band really didn't have a good experience recording Countdown to Extinction out west. Mustaine told the Los Angeles Daily News, at the Burbank place there was a rap group and some of them had locked themselves in our lounge with my personal belongings and were smoking pot and eating. The frontman was offended by the action, almost got physical with the rap group. He didn't want to have to deal with that again, in addition to, of course, having to stay sober, and most of the band was already living in Arizona by this time. So they ended up building a studio at a warehouse in Arizona. Megadeth initially wanted to record inside someone's house, but according to some reports at the time, no homeowner was interested in renting their property to the band. Megadeth's evolution during this period showcased a more collaborative Dave Mustaine, who made conscious efforts to engage with his bandmates. Producer Max Norman was brought into the fold, and he worked with the band with a bigger emphasis on the vocals and more radio-friendly songs. He pushed the band to slow down their tempos, but there were still flickers of the band's harder sound with the opening track Reckoning Day and other songs like Train of Consequences. Drummer Nick Menza outlined the band's approach, stating, "We really set out with the notion, let's make some songs that everyone can listen to." Ellefson remarked how Countdown to Extinction represented a fork in the road for the band. Do they maintain their current sound or go somewhere different? For Ellefson, their follow-up to Countdown was pretty much built on the confidence of their past work. The follow-up to Countdown to Extinction, titled Youthanasia, was born out of two things: Mustaine's difficult childhood and the better future the musician wanted to try to create for his 3-year-old son. Megadeth, in doing press for the album, was continually held up as an elder statesman of metal, a voice of a younger generation, and being a metal band with an important message or morals. Mustaine told the Associated Press, "Parents have children to be the ultimate pet. They want to get social mileage out of them. As children express any form of autonomy, the parents rebel against the children who are rebelling. And what happens? They turn to drugs, violence, crime, teenage pregnancy, alcohol, and then the final straw is taking one's life. That's my concern as a father." As for his own troubled youth, he added that when he was 4, his parents divorced. He was told he'd either be sent to juvie or an orphanage, adding, "Those things might have been a joke, but to me, it felt real." The title of Megadeth's 6th studio album, Youthanasia, was a play on words of how society is setting up the youth to fail, basically implying the society was euthanizing its youth. Let's talk about the artwork. I don't even think I can show it on YouTube, but you guys can Google it, and chances are you've probably already seen it. The artwork garnered so much controversy that Canadian Walmarts, some German record stores, and even Malaysia and Singapore refused to sell the album. The artwork, which shows an elderly woman hanging diapered babies on a clothesline, was inspired by the title track with the lyric, "We've been hung up to dry." Canadian artist Hugh Syme did the artwork for the album. And even some Canadian magazines turned down advertisements for the record, and Music Plus, which is Much Music's equivalent in the province of Quebec, refused to show ads for the record as well. But the record store HMV in Canada still sold the album, and they claim to have not received any complaints. The band brushed off any criticism of their artwork, claiming that people were rushing to judgment and judging a book by its cover. And if they had simply listened to the album, they might have changed their mind. Ellefson added, "I see the album cover and the song as being very positive." He went on to praise Dave Mustaine for being a big supporter of young people, adding, "Dave is very outspoken on how young people are looked upon and treated. Because they have a leather jacket or a tattoo or long hair or no hair, many people immediately judge them and put them in the no mind category." The record saw a November 1st, 1994 release. The band made an appearance at Tower Records on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood to coincide with the album coming out. It just so happened to line up with Halloween. 1,400 fans lined up to meet their metal heroes, and the record store was dressed up like a haunted house with the cover art being replicated on the roof of the building. The same night, MTV also aired Night of the Living Megadeth, a live concert. The first single released from the album, Train of Consequences, peaked at number 29 on the mainstream rock tracks chart. The second single, A Tout le Monde, was issued. And there was one interview that I came across where Mustaine said that the song was written with the help of a former girlfriend of his, a Torontonian named Manon. For Mustaine, the song's French refrain is what he wanted his final words to be, adding to the Canadian press, in Michelle, referring to the Beatles song, "I thought how beautiful to sing in French. I thought what a clever way to draw people in." But MTV misinterpreted the whole song, claiming that it was pro-self-harm, and they banned the video. Mustaine clarified, adding, "It's when people have a loved one that dies, and they end on a bad note, you know. They wish they could say something to them, so this is the opportunity for the deceased to say something before they go." What it leaves behind is hard. The single ended up peaking at number 31 on the mainstream rock tracks chart. Other notable songs on the record included Addicted to Chaos and Victory, which related to Mustaine's past battles with drugs and alcohol. The album, meanwhile, peaked at number 4 in the States and went on to be certified platinum, and also went platinum in my home country of Canada. The record also resulted in two famous closeted Megadeth fans coming out of the woodwork: photographer Richard Avedon, who photographed the band, and suspense writer Dean Koontz, who wrote an essay entitled Godzilla vs. Megadeth on a special promotional copy of the record. It's been 31 years since the album came out. God, I tell you what, guys, I feel old. But how does Dave Mustaine feel about the record looking back? Well, he expressed some regret, as he thought the record could have succeeded Megadeth's best-selling album, Countdown to Extinction. His issue was with producer Max Norman. Mustaine gave an interview where he said the album was immediately certified platinum when it came out. That was the first time that happened for us. But there was also some stuff going on that record I was unhappy about. The producer we were using, Max Norman, thought we should slow down all the songs to 120 beats per minute. And I didn't want to have any part with that. We're a metal band. You can't have everything have 120 beats per minute. It's obvious. That was a radio tempo. So you guys are maybe wondering, what else is there to talk about on the record? Well, in my opinion, the best part of the story lies in the marketing plan behind the album, because Megadeth made history. There was a woman named Robin Sloan Bechtel who worked at the marketing group at Megadeth's label, Capitol Records. Initially, Capitol wanted to promote the album using the tried and true formula that asked the following questions: who's going to shoot the album cover, how many radio stations are going to play the single, and how many posters should we print for record stores? But it was now 1994, and the internet was slowly making its way into people's homes, libraries, and schools. Robin had the idea that this new technology could be harnessed in promoting the album and the label's other artists. But Megadeth wasn't the first band that she used technology and computers to promote. Prior to working on the marketing plan for Megadeth's new album, she was tasked with working on the marketing plan for 2 other artists that Capitol had, including Frank Sinatra and Bonnie Raitt, who were putting out new albums at this time. It was a co-worker of hers that introduced her to Macromedia Director software, which was an authoring tool that could be used to make simple but effective video games. She quickly created a video game for Frank Sinatra's new album that quickly won over the people at Capitol Records. And it wasn't too long after this she started working on the marketing plan for Beastie Boys record Ill Communication. She thought of coming up with the idea of releasing a screensaver of the band on various gaming and software forums and on floppy disk. The screensaver proved to be a huge hit. She was soon assigned to the marketing team for Megadeth's upcoming record. As she sat in meetings to discuss promotion for the album, the same old questions, like I had said before, were being asked. It wasn't long after she wrote a proposal for what she envisioned was going to be a website to promote Megadeth's 6th studio album. In her mind, the website could serve as a virtual cybertown in cyberspace, as she put it, and the cybertown was going to be called Megadeth, which was located in the state of Arizona. Her boss, Lou Mann, was the senior vice president of the label and ended up giving her $30,000 to pursue the idea. Robin admitted in the article she wrote on Medium.com that she had no idea what this money was going to be used for, and Robin soon enlisted 2 of her coworkers, a copywriter and a graphics artist, to provide the content for the website. The website drew inspiration from a few places: Roadside America's Tourist Guide and a postcard her coworker had actually found from Arizona. The website consisted of the following features. There was, of course, news about the band, which was called Megabyte News. There were video clips from their upcoming record and a digital postcard that you could send via email to your family or friends. The website was one of the first instances on the internet where you could even email video clips along with a customizable greeting card to other people. There was even a chat room where you could meet other Megadeth fans. The real mission of the website was to make it seem like a town or a vacation spot for fans to meet and mingle. Megadeth ended up being the first big band to have their own website. The website ended up being a huge success, bringing in over 3 million visitors by 1995, and it even caught the attention of some other hugely successful and powerful people, including Starbucks CEO Howard Schultz. Schultz had requested a meeting with Capitol Records' marketing team to understand how they utilize the internet to promote their product. It was following that meeting with Schultz that Robin's salary was doubled and Starbucks soon launched their own website. Once the album cycle was done for Megadeth's record, Capitol wanted to shut down the site, but there was such a devoted following they decided to keep it online. In fact, you can go visit it today. So what did the members of Megadeth think of the whole thing? Well, Ellefson and Mustaine were both fans of computers to begin with, as the pair had already had computers as early as 1990. Ellefson credited the website with boosting the band's popularity and recalled discussions with the management team, saying, "Very clearly, I remember having discussions with management. The band and Capitol who were sitting there, what is the internet? What do you do?" Everybody was like, it's still the Wild West, but I think we should go for it. As a band, we were very much into it. The website also ended up having some other unintended consequences, including piquing interest in computers and the internet. Robin noted that she still gets countless messages from people thanking her for getting them interested in both computers and the World Wide Web. Not only did the website give fans a chance to talk to their musical heroes and to each other, it also created long-lasting relationships. According to Robin, some fans met, dated, and even got married, while unfortunately another fan got an STD. In addition to all the fan mingling, it also gave them the chance to, of course, chat with their favorite band. When Dave Mustaine ventured into the site's chat room, none of the fans, of course, believed he was who he said he was. Once they realized it was him, they wouldn't leave him alone. That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.